Hello, everybody. I really, I don't have a ton I'd like to talk about today. Just a couple of kind of just New Year things. So now I apologize. I had in Mexico here, we celebrate Three Kings Day, which in Canada is called Epiphany Day, January 6th. And it is the day to celebrate the three wise men that brought baby Jesus gifts. So it's a big deal here. Kids get gifts and everything. And so we have a special king's cake. And I have two different lovely friends that brought me pieces of their king's cake, which I greatly appreciate. And I sure did eat them. And I ate, a nice piece of this cake yesterday, and I woke up all stuffy this morning. So I think sugar really got me. So it's funny because I also have seen a post on Facebook about, oh my goodness, everyone's sick right now. What's happening? It's all the processed sugar. I know myself. I try and when I bake normally, all the usual things I make everything with honey and maybe maple syrup. I try and keep everything as clean as possible. And then if I have to use sugar, it's raw, natural, like sugar cane. It's not processed white sugar. But when we do Christmas baking, if you're like me, there's just some things you need a more refined sugar for. And like one of my favorite cookies, it's a Norwegian cookie called krumkake, and it's a wafer. And you can't use honey because then it won't crisp up and be crunchy like the wafer it's supposed to be. So you have to use that more refined. Use the natural cane because the cookie is white. And yes, I'm being picky. I probably could use the more raw natural and just have a brown wafer, but it's tradition and I like to keep the tradition alive. So I like to make it with the traditional ingredients. And the result of all that processed stuff, and especially the sugars attack our immune system. And then you get the stuffy nose, the cold, whatever's floating around, you are more susceptible. And I just have to laugh because yeah, I ate that cake last night. I the one they brought me last night had like a cream cheese filling around it and all woven in. It was really good. And this is my consequence of all that lovely processed deliciousness. So I apologize. I am stuffy. I sound a bit ridiculous, but that's okay. I am perfectly fine otherwise. And okay, so getting back to the new year, illnesses aside, obviously time to get back on that wagon. I know I am doing my usual running routine. I'm back at it again. So hopefully that will have this cleared up in no time flat. But I just like to touch on a few things. First of all, I know a lot of people love the New Year's resolutions. I personally don't like them. To me, it's almost just kind of setting yourself up for failure. Who can make a resolution and stick with it? That's awesome. Keep making them. But for, 90% of us out there, the resolutions, deep down, we know we're not going to stick through because we never have. It's just kind of, I think, like subconsciously setting ourselves up to fail. So personally, I've never really understood them. I've never really made them myself. So I still kind of believe that they're kind of a bunch of. I do also believe if you're not willing to stay, then deep down you don't really want to start it because you've already come up with excuses of why not to do it today. Oh, Monday's better. Oh, the start of the month works better. Oh, I should just start January 1st, clean slate. All of these things, but those are just excuses. So if something's important to you and you really want to get started, then you would just start today, or you would plan and you'd start tomorrow, right? Depending what you want to start. Obviously, if you want to start running in the morning and it's already past the morning today, you're not going to start that today because you're gonna, okay, tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna whatever, right? But it's that if you're not willing to start it right away, then you're already building excuses of why not to do it. And you've already kind of, again, set yourself up to fail. So I personally don't do the resolutions. I just think if there's something you want to do, implement it and start doing it. So that's my little take on that. Now, having said that, what I do for the New Year's is I kind of reflect back and think, okay, what's everything the past 6 months? And again, you do this in summer too. So it's not like a year end thing necessarily. It's just as good as time as any because lots of people are making changes. So, thinking back the last 6 months, what really worked, what did I like, what did work for me, as a coach, of course. So similarly, if you sell products, what products, or as a coach, what services are people not as interested in? Maybe I need to revamp something. Maybe I just need to get rid of something. And really look back. Similarly with techniques, like, think of my content, how was my engagement? What do people value seeing and hearing most? Should I do more lives? Should I do more postcard posts? Just kind of thinking about that. And I don't necessarily mean sitting down and making it stressful and having this big reflection session. Like, you don't need to be dramatic about it. It's just kind of sitting back and just like looking at some numbers if you have time and reflecting what was memorable. Because again, let's also remember, we notice when things work well and we notice if something's really bombing. This is just a natural human trait where if we excel at something, something does really well, we just remember it. The middle of the road stuff we tend to not really remember, because what's there to remember about it? It's just middle of the road. Things that really bomb, like I did so poorly, this was horrible, again, we tend to remember. So already you kind of have that idea. You just need to sit back and reflect on it. So again, it doesn't have to be this big dramatic, I'm going to set 4 hours aside and deep dive into my everything. Like, you just need to, again, what felt out of alignment? Are there things you've been doing adjustment for that? And I think, again, about every 6 months, this is a great thing to do. So for myself, I've been thinking about a lot of the programs lately, things that I've taken, I've spent money on, coaching I've had. And what I really think now more than ever, just thinking of like, as in tune with the States. I think their economy, North America, inflation is bad. Most first world countries are hit pretty hard with the inflation. There's a lot of economic instability going around. And I know Canada is it's feeling it pretty hard. Our dollar is garbage. So not only do we have inflation, but our dollar compared to the US dollar is really, really bad right now. So anything imported has just jacked right up in price. So not only do we have the inflation, we have all these extra inadvertent import fees just because our dollar is garbage, including all the extra whatever, other countries have decided to jack their prices up or whatever it might be. So I know in Canada, there's a lot of stuff going around. Life can be pretty hard for a lot of people right now. And we're coming out of the Christmas season where typically most people overspend. They talk about January being the highest depressing month of the year. I think part of that is because, like in Canada, the sun is down by 5 p.m. It is dark. It is cold AF. It is a miserable place to be in January. Canada, I'm sorry. I assume the northern parts, maybe like Russia, Northern Europe, maybe they're similar, but I think it's one of the worst places in January because it's just dark and cold and depressing. And then you get all your credit card bills and your power bills from Christmas, and you're just like, oh my God. So I really feel like this year, 2025, with all the AI, with all if pay attention to the news, oh my God, if I hear misinformation and disinformation one more time, like it's too much. Nobody knows what to believe. Nobody knows what to think. Nobody knows what to spend money on. I feel like it's just a bit of a crazy time. And I feel like with all the AI and these deep fakes, which I'm still, not necessarily 100% certain I necessarily know what that is, and people are creating all this AI content and everything is so fake. And even just people, everyone getting plastic surgery has never been more popular and everyone's so fake nowadays that I really feel like 2025 is the year of being super authentic, just being me. I'm going to be me to the max. Like, this is what you get. I eat sugar. My nose stuffs up. Like, I can't help. Well, I can't help it. I cannot eat sugar, but it's just me. I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to, be 100% authentically me. I'm going to encourage all of you to just be you. We're going to be real people. Really, I'm going to be focusing on, for a lot of my clients, breaking out of these rules. Like even, how many people would scoff? I still have my Christmas decorations up. How many people would be like, oh my God, you can't do that? Or even if you're one of the person that looked at that, they're like, and you're judging me for it. That's great. It's not your house. You don't have to live here. That's the beauty of to each their own. You do you. Let's get out of these boxes of society says. I know in Canada, one of my clients, she would keep her tree up sometimes till February because her kids love it. Who cares? Right? Getting out of these boxes of, oh, well, can't because why? Who says? Who told you you can't do that? Who told you you can't be you? Who told you you can't live your life the way you see fit? Right? And again, it's one of those learning to trust ourselves. And even food wise, oh, you should eat less meat. Well, the other half of the aisle says I should eat nothing but meat. What should I do? I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to use the knowledge I have with what I think makes sense to me and what I've researched. And I'm going to decide, like, how does my body feel when I eat this, this, and this? How does my body feel when I eat that? Clearly, I am not very, processed sugar friendly. But just listening and doing my best for what I think is best for me and my family. And all the other rules, you know what? No matter what the thing is, there's someone out there to tell you you're right, and there's someone out there to tell you you're wrong. So this is the year to just get back to you. Who are you? What do you love? What do you want to do? And let's start filling in those missing gaps and get away from this. Oh, well, society says you need to do this. Well, why? Right? Really questioning these expectations that have been placed on us. And then for myself, for my business, especially, again, it's maximum support. Again, going back to all the instability, everything going on, all the fakeness out there. How can I support you more? For my clients, even if you're not a client yet, you watch, but I'll call you a client if you watch my stream, you watch my videos, if you partake in any of my anything, then I'm here to support you. That is the point of me doing all this. You don't have to give me money for me to support you. You don't have to be a paid client. So if there's things you'd love to see me touch on, like maybe more stress tips, maybe, I know people hate to go back in someone's feed and like watch all the videos. I get that. So maybe there's videos I did quite a while ago and I haven't touched on topics in I don't know, 6 months, and you want to hear some more tips for stress or anxiety, or, this is a situation I had. I'm going to my friend's house and there's going to be people there I don't like what's some tools for really managing my emotions and making sure I respond versus the emotional reacting and causing a scene and whatever else might happen. So let me know if there's anything you ever want to hear me talk about or touch on. I am more than happy, literally why I do this. And that's, again, my main focus for 2025 is going to be support. How can I support you guys more? So even my programs, I know for myself, I'm kind of over these 3-day boot camp, 5-day boot camp. You come to these things and you have to block off your calendar. 5 days later, you're exhausted. And the thing is, no matter how great the information is in these boot camps, workshops, whatever master classes you want to call them, there's no additional support. So, a week later, and even I've had this where I leave that 3 or 5 day event, I'm feeling great. I feel so knowledgeable. I feel empowered. This is amazing. And then a week later, I've kind of started to lose it. There's no support. There's nowhere for me to go and be like, hey, I kind of forget. Hey, what was this? Hey, like somebody help me out here. So I'm going to have, no matter what program I'm going to have this year, whether it's a half-day workshop, even I have a 4-hour intensive VIP that's one-on-one, no matter what I do, it's going to have some sort of follow-up session or follow-up sessions. And I'm going to have, I didn't like last year. I really wasn't into this Voxer, but I actually really like it. My mentor uses it, and I've been using it with her. It's really easy. You click the button, you leave voice message, and you can just literally kind of chat back and forth using the voice message. And it's perfectly free, which is even better, right? So I think really implementing things like Voxer, where we could have that daily support. If there's something you're struggling with, you're like, hey, I know we talked about this, but I forget. Like, let's have that support. That's what actually gets the job done. Having the knowledge is amazing, but there's tons of us out there. We've read all the books, we've done all the things, but without the support, you just can't implement it and keep it sustained and actually like have it as a long-term, lifelong, that actual life change. It's more like, I always equate it to like dieting and changing your food like habits. So dieting, there's nothing long-term about that. We know it's short-term, we're doing dramatic changes, and we know we're going to stop doing it. And in the end, what happens is usually you put on all the weight again, and it never works. Diets never work. We kind of all know this, right? But changing your food habits, cutting out sugar, like literally, not eating sugar, not eating fast food. I don't want to say ever, but like, for my boyfriend and I, we eat like a fast food burger like once a year, not once a week. Like life changing habits, right? Similar, like we do more of a paleo style where we just don't eat anything processed. Like that is a habit. We live that way. And now we've been living that way for years. So making permanent changes that stick as opposed to these like diet fad and we fall off the wagon. So that's my big focus for 2025 is how can I support everyone to make these, life changes so that it really sticks. Because that's the goal, right? So that's kind of like, I think my like little key phrase this year is going to be maximum support for maximum results. And I'm going to be so focused on getting you guys the results, and it's going to be great. I'm pretty pumped up about it because I feel like this year is going to be about, we've done a ton of growth, we've done a ton of work, we've done a ton of learning in 2024. Now we're going to implement it, and we're going to start seeing the results from all of that effort last year. So I'm pretty excited, and I think really having my focus on supporting you guys achieving those results and making sure they happen is going to be huge. Having more of those instead of like a 3-day workshop, we're going to have a 3-week workshop where we have time to implement, we have time to be confused and resolve that confusion and actually, again, implement those habits so they stick. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. The other thing I wanted to touch on was, really getting away from the boxes and the rules. I kind of already touched on that again, but really just, expectations, making sure to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Similarly, kind of like the Christmas stuff. If, you should take it down because society says you shouldn't have your tree up past January 7th, and you kind of feel like a little sad putting your stuff away, then why are you putting it away? Right? Like really making sure you're making the right choice of why you're doing it. Similar, like I run every morning. I hate running. Who's chasing me? It's so horrible. But right now, it's the best cardio option I have for me. Knowing myself, knowing that I'm not driving to a gym. I learned this about myself a long time ago. I hate driving to gyms. I need to have the gym basically in my house or, a very short distance away. So running is just the best alternative. I'm making my choice. I'm doing it because I am choosing to do it, not because someone else told me I had to do it. So that's a big thing, is to really, again, why are you doing this? Do you hate yoga, but someone told you you had to? It's the best thing. All the moms are doing it, but you hate doing it. Maybe explore Tai Chi. Or I just heard about this thing yesterday, Qigong, Qigong, I think it's called. I have no idea what it is. I think it's called like Tai Chi, but let's explore other options. Maybe you're a martial art person. Maybe you like to get movement through martial arts. Like, what resonates with you, and let's stop doing things because someone else says we have to or we should or whatever. So yeah, that's my things. I'd love for you guys to really think on that. Why you're doing all the things you're doing, especially these things when we do it and we hate doing it, then why are you doing it? Similar, like, the Christmas stuff. If you're taking it down and it makes you feel sad and you wish you could leave it up, then why aren't you leaving it up? Is this an actual choice you're making, or are you doing this because, somebody else or society says you should or shouldn't? Really getting back to like who we are, what we love, and what resonates with us. I know I have a Facebook friend that says this, so I kind of hate, it's her catchphrase, so I hate saying it, but being true to yourself. Who are you? What do you love? What do you love doing? And just forget the outside world and do it, right? So I hope this helps. I hope this resonates. And again, I would really love for you guys, I'd love to hear in the chats, leave me a message or something. Do you do the New Year's resolutions? Does that work for you? Are you more like me where you might just like reflect and what are we going to focus on? Make a focus and a goal for this year instead of a resolution. They're similar, but I know for me in my mind, resolution has a stigma to it. New Year's resolution. So for me, even though it might seem the exact same to you, and maybe it is, in my mind, using the different words makes it different because words matter, right? Going back to that, I know if you saw my video about my boyfriend and I almost having a fight, and here we are arguing for the same thing, but because the one word had different meanings for us, we didn't realize we were arguing for the same thing. So words really do matter. We all have different definitions of them. And this is why it's so important to get clarity and to really know what we're saying when we're saying it and what it means to us, and really understanding that. So yeah, I don't like that resolution, me personally. So I have my 6-month goal, my 3-month goal, and my focus for this year. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I will say, as always, have a very excellent weekend because it's Thursday, which means it's pretty much Friday, which means it's like the weekend already. I love it. I just love positives in everything. Makes me smile always. And that's the goal, right? To smile and be happy. Pretty much a very wonderful weekend. And we will see you